2026 may be here, but we're going to go backwards to take a quick recap of 2025 and how our housing market fared. I'm Scott Curcio, feeling very much like I'm on the nightly news here, bringing you the report on 2025. In this video, we're going to cover the average sales prices across the categories in the city. We're going to touch on what the suburbs did. We're going to talk about the luxury market and some broad strokes about the market in general and where it's going. So buckle up. We're going to be fast and get you out of here in just a few minutes. First, let's start with the city of Chicago sales. Now, our overall sales total was down about 0.5% from last year, 2024. But this is good news because if you remember last year when I did this video, we were down about 1.5%, and that was with less inventory. So we actually did better in 2025. Pat on the back for Chicago. And our average sales prices, we hit a milestone this year. It was the first time where all three residential categories, if you've watched me for a while, you can probably say it with me, condos and townhomes, single family homes, and 2 to 4 unit multifamily, right? Those are the magic three. All of them had an average sales price above $500,000 and some really strong price growth in their individual categories. Condos were up about 6.25%. Single families were up a little over 8%, and our 2 to 4 units did the best. They were up just over 9%. Condos, if we star that one a little bit, even had an increase in the number of sales by just over 1.5 points. So it wasn't too great, but that's substantial in a market that has lower inventory. We are also performing different than a lot of the other markets around the country. Some of the bigger markets, especially in Florida, you're hearing buyer's market, not too much inventory, too many homes on the market. We don't have that problem yet. In fact, we still need to build more homes because we have a backlog of need and supply and demand issues going back to 2008 when the housing started to fall when we entered the recession. Now, one of the other reasons that Chicago's performed pretty well is we don't have the big swings that a lot of these other markets, especially the coastal markets, do. For perspective, if we looked at the last 10 years of average sales price growth, condos and townhomes, they grew a little over almost 3.5% year over year. Single family homes grew about 5.5% year over year. And our 2 to 4 units grew just over 7.25% year over year. And I'm giving you guys those stats so you see a little bit of the bigger picture here that our market tends to do this, right? We tend to not do this like some other markets. That's going to be important when you look at 2026 and people are saying, buyer's market over here, buyer's market over here. What about Chicago? So far, we are not trending that way. We'll see where we are at the end of 2026, of course. Now, let's get a little fancy and talk about the luxury market. In the city of Chicago, we had some really strong growth in the number of $1 million plus homes. Both our single families, which were up a little over 11% in the number of sales, and our condos, we had more than 23% higher number of those sales in 2025. But the North Shore is where it gets really, really interesting. We had 2 record-breaking sales, 2 homes in Winnetka above $30 million each. Before, our highest price was a condo downtown at $20,500,000 and some change. So this is massive growth. Now let's talk about the suburbs. In the past years, I haven't put these in the report, but I'm bringing them in because we have so many clients in the burbs and you guys deserve love too. You shouldn't have to come and ask me for a specific report. So we're gonna do the top 5 highest appreciating suburbs in 2025. That means the ones that had the highest growth year over year from 2024 to 2025. Leading the way, Winnetka. They had the 2 highest sales. Are we surprised? No. They placed 6 of the top 10 highest sales prices. Are we surprised? No. Still no. Second place, Kenilworth. Third place, Lake Bluff. Fourth place, Vernon Hills. And fifth place, Lake Forest. We're going to give an honorable mention to the next 5, which are Libertyville, Wilmette, Evanston, Bloomingdale, and Glen Ellen. So, in conclusion, again, from my nightly news set that I've concocted here, I think 2026 will continue to be strong. We're going to see some of the continuation of these numbers that we've given you there. All signs point to us having another really good year in real estate. There's a lot of pent-up demand. And as we start the year, we've got interest rates that have dropped to a low in the last 4 years. So I think it's going to be a real strong year. A lot of people are coming out of the woodwork. I'm not panicked about our market. In fact, I'm quite excited. So follow along, if you will, and we'll keep bringing you all the reports as 2026 rolls on. I'm Scott Curcio from Beard & Mortar Real Estate, and I'll see you next time.